You're listening to Cosmic Cousins Soul-Centered Astrology. I am your host, Jeff Hinshaw. Thanks for tuning in. Cosmic Cousins is dedicated to honoring the interconnectedness of our universal family through embodied health, self-discovery, and deeper learning. Cosmic Cousins is released on each new and full moon, and it is here to bring you back into alignment with the cosmos. So thank you for being here as always. Hey, Cosmic Cousins. Happy Valentine's Day to you if you celebrate this day of love. I celebrate it every year because it's my birthday, so I'm celebrating that today. I am all of 35 years old and so grateful for this life and for this platform to share astrology with you. Last night I hung out with friends over a few drinks at my favorite pub here in Portland, and then we came back to my house. We ate cake, and we each drew an animal oracle card. I got the Earthworm. This is from the Kim Cran's Oracle deck, the Animal Oracle deck. Earthworm felt really right for me because it's, tending to the soil. And right now the North Node of Fate in Taurus is just a few degrees from my Taurus IC. The IC is the Imam Cheli, which is the lowest point of your chart. So for me, I'm really getting to know, the North Node is that invitation for evolution. So right now we're all being invited towards Taurus in our chart. But since it's at my IC at the bottom of my chart, it is a time of going within and really planting roots. And so that's what I'm doing right now. It feels quite timely, turning 35. So yes, happy Valentine's Day to you. It's kind of cool that lines up with the Leo full moon, which is a very saucy and spicy full moon here at the end of Aquarius season. And also, Venus and Mars are hanging out in the sky together. Do you feel that? They are doing a little tango right now, so we're going to check in with that during the energy update portion of the show. So we got a great episode today. We have the Leo full moon, which we'll explore. We'll do the energy update, which is new for the show. Whenever we tune in, it will be the new or the full moon, and then I'll offer you a 2-week energy update on the current transits. And so we're going to talk about the Venus and Mars conjunction. We'll also talk about Pisces season, which is just around the corner. And then after the energy update, on this week's episode, enjoy a conversation with my dear friend and gifted psychic medium and visual artist, Mary Grisey, who is a Leo sun with a Cancer moon. And in our conversation, we discuss the creative process. We talk about the complexities of the Leo-Aquarius polarity. And then we go into Mary's upcoming Mediumship Master Class called The Architecture of Remembering. So you'll want to stick around for that. So it's Valentine's Day. This is kind of a Hallmark holiday, I guess. But if you trace it back to its roots or its origin, someone shared with me, I think it was a yoga teacher a few years ago, which was kind of cool since this is my birthday. I had never actually heard that, but apparently Saint Valentine was the patron saint of writing love letters to God or to a higher power. And so I don't know if I'm going to do that this year or not, but I have in previous years written love letters to the universe. But it's kind of cool for me to reflect on that because I kind of feel like that's what this podcast is a love letter to the universe and to you all out there listening. This is my love letter to you. This year I actually have a boyfriend. I have a partner. So I'm going to be spending the day with my beautiful boyfriend, Sam. And the sirens are going off in the background. I don't know if you can hear them, but it has been quite a ride, the two of us. So we met on the first day of Leo season this past summer, which was the Aquarius full moon. And so it's been about 7 months now that we've been getting to know each other. And I like to share a little bit about me because the Leo full moon is about you. It's about me. It's about you. It's about us shining our light, being a little bit more vulnerable, being a little bit more intimate, raw, exposed. So it's interesting, as an Aquarius, I don't always share about those like intimate details about my life because it's about you and the collective. And this is so Aquarian. But on this Leo full moon, there is that invitation for us to drop the need to be all things to all people. Drop the humanitarian ideal. And right now, Saturn is in Aquarius. It's so serious. We're taking things really seriously and responsibly when it comes to humanity, science, technology, even astrology. I've definitely felt with Saturn in Aquarius that I have been taking my astrology practice to a new level. Saturn is stepping up to the plate in a very responsible way. Aquarius rules over astrology. So have you found yourself more deeply committing Saturn to your astrology practice since March of 2020 when Saturn entered Aquarius? So we have that to take into consideration with this Leo full moon, but Leo is here to balance our Aquarian ways. And what a gift it is. So I'll always offer you 3 phrases for each new and full moon. And it's what I'm intuitively feeling from the energy of this moon, but also some of them are like the traditional phrases. The phrases I have for us for the Leo full moon are I desire, I love, I will. I desire, I love, I will. I will is a phrase that I usually see with Leo. And right now, there's kind of like a double way that we can look at it. Are you willing something into creation, or are you declaring that you will do something? It kind of feels like both of them to me at this moment in time, but perhaps you meditate on these phrases, I desire, I love, I will, or pull tarot cards for them to further explore the energy of this full moon. So the details of this full moon, it is February 16th, 2022, and the full moon is at the 28th degree of Leo in a square to the north node in Taurus at 8:56 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:56 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think is kind of cool because that's at and around noon, which is the Leo hour. When something's at noon, typically it will be right up there at the midheaven. So in the U.S. chart, we put Washington, D.C. in February 16th, 11:56 a.m., and the sun in Aquarius is right up there at the midheaven, hanging out at that noon spot. So midheaven is when you look straight up in the sky. It's the highest point in the sky, right? So, yeah, blessings to you on this bold Leo full moon. Go ahead and place your hands on your heart. This is Leo's sacred part of the body. And begin to take deep, nourishing inhales in here as we transition into the Leo full moon. Deep inhale into the heart, into the chest, the shoulders. So breathing into the entirety of the chest cavity. This is Leo's part of the body. So paying attention to the shoulders. Are the shoulders rounded, guarding the heart? Are the shoulders splayed back and the heart is wide open? How do we find a balance in this sacred part of the body? What does it feel like to breathe in here? And what does it feel like to drop out of the head and into the heart? This is the invitation of the Leo full moon. Aquarius season, air, fixed air up in the head, trying to figure everything out, trying to be strategic and look ahead into the future. Leo says, let's drop into the present moment. Let's feel into the heart. Let's listen to the wisdom of that beat that's here. So placing the hands on the heart and the chest, breathing into the shoulders, giving your shoulders a nice roll, a nice massage. Leo is also connected to the spine. So I think of the base of the spine all the way up I lengthen the back of the neck so you can slightly drop the chin and create length through the back of the neck. And just notice the quality of breath as you breathe into the spine. And then the spine, as we go up the back of the neck, is connecting us to the hair. Leo is the hair as well. So running your hands through your hair or your scalp, massaging this part of your body, massaging down the spine, the shoulders, the chest, the heart. It's very intimate, actually, all of these parts of the body. Very even sexual, sensual. So we always connect to the body here on Cosmic Cousins. It's so important for us when working with astrology to ground this psychic cosmic work into the physical world. And so we're connecting to these parts. We can also connect to the physical world through our tarot cards. Strength is the soul growth card for Leo. King of Wands is what I use. Fixed fire. Kings are fixed. Wands are fire. And the Sun card, because Leo is ruled by the sun. The esoteric phrase for Leo is I am that, and that I am. And that is channeled by Leo rising Alice Bailey. And our Queen of Leo, Cosmic Cousins Queen of Leo, is Viola Davis, who expresses herself in a very raw, primal, instinctual way that also highlights ordinary people, gives a spotlight to ordinary people so that they can have their stories shining forth into the world. So Viola Davis, there is a link in the show notes if you want to explore her life to understand Leo a bit more. I have a podcast episode that's about her life. But let's talk more about this Leo full moon. Leo fixed fire is unwavering. The fixed signs are all unwavering, but fixed fire is unwavering compassion, is driven, bold, brave, romantic, and alive. Leo balances Aquarius season, again, dropping out of the head and into our heart. So what does it feel like to lead with the power of love? What does it feel like to lead with the power of love? How might you more fully trust in your instinctual urge to create and to express? What would life feel like if you allowed yourself to step fully into the present moment? This Leo full moon, it is encouraging a shift in focus. So allow yourself to be tender. It feels really interesting, right? We get this Leo full moon, which is about exposing your heart and being tender as we are about to head into Pisces season in a few days, which is also about compassion. Leo and Pisces are two signs that are quincunx, are inconjunct, meaning they're on opposite sides of the wheel, but they're not polar signs. So Leo is inconjunct to Pisces and also to Capricorn, which Mars and Venus are hanging out in Capricorn right now, which we'll talk about today. But Pisces and Leo, what they have in common, they have a few things in common. I actually really enjoy the quincunx or the inconjunct pairings. I find that they, it's kind of like when you mix colors on the opposite side of the color wheel that aren't on polar sides. There's a sort of unexpected marriage between the qualities of those signs. So Pisces and Leo, inner child healing, the power of love and compassion and understanding. That's what these two signs hold in common for me. But yeah, there's a shift in focus now with this full moon. Things are being illuminated. Emotions might feel a bit more heightened, but you also might become much more aware of what Aquarius season was here to teach you. You also might find that there is a rippling of connection to Leo season from 2021. So what was going on at the end of July, beginning of August of 2021? So Aquarius, having everything figured out. Humanitarian ideals. This full moon is about balancing that. It's about you. What do you want? What do you desire? This full moon is about you and the will to be seen in your vulnerabilities, especially with the ones that you love the most. Leo is about camaraderie. It's like gathering in the lion's den with the people that you love. So trust in your instincts. Trust in the rhythm of your beating heart. This is what this Leo full moon is here to remind us. Let your desires be a compass pointing you in the direction of your deeper knowings. And so to offer a connection to Leo, I would love to highlight an inspiring figure with strong Leo energy that I greatly look up to, and that is James Baldwin. And so in a very Leo way, he used his creative ambition and his bold intellect to instill greater joy and camaraderie within the collective. And so James Baldwin was born on August 2nd, 1924, and was a Leo sun with Virgo moon. And as a Black author and activist, Baldwin fearlessly expressed his truth through storytelling. This is Leo. His work often gifted the spotlight to gay protagonists at a time when homosexuality was widely condemned. And so his work deeply connects us to Leo. It exudes a sense of pride. It's raw, it's exposed, it's charismatic, and it's brutally honest. So many of his great works are centered around Leo themes, the complexities of love and the complexities of identity. So thinking about him on this full moon, Venus and Mars are passionately hanging out together in the sky at the 15th degree of Capricorn. So these two planets, they continue to tango up the Capricorn mountain in close proximity for the remainder of February, and they'll be hanging out together all of March. They enter Aquarius together in the first week of March, so then they expand out into the stars and the cosmos, and we'll continue to check in with that. That will be a big theme of the Pisces New Moon in 2 weeks. But when Venus and Mars are together, it's a time of fierce beauty. Mars brings that fierceness to the Venusian side of beauty. It's like there's a grit to it. Ambition and desire meet. So we might be feeling some of that on this Leo full moon too. How are you stepping more fully into your power in regards to the matters of your heart? In the world around me, I have seen people going through breakups. Mars can sever things, and Venus is matters of the heart. I've also seen people really setting firm, clear boundaries. Mars can have us setting boundaries as an individual around their dating life. Venus. This is a time where people can really bring their ambition towards their art, their craft, their lover, their money, their finances. These are all Venus's themes. So Mars is an activist, and Venus also is about equality and social justice. So the coming of these two planets together, it will manifest in different ways for everyone. But you can look around 15 degrees of Capricorn to see how that might be activating for you on this Leo full moon. And you can also look around the 28th degree of Leo as well, which is where this full moon is. So I have a quote from James Baldwin that I think, I find very Leo, as he is a Leo, and quite apropos for the joining together of Venus and Mars. So here's a quote from James Baldwin. Love does not begin and end the way we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is growing up. I'll read it one more time for you. Love does not begin and end the way we seem to think it does. Love is a battle. Love is a war. Love is growing up. So May this Leo full moon instill within you greater honesty and connection with yourself that opens up portals and gateways towards deeper intimacy with others. Blessings to you and yours on this beautiful Leo full moon. Okay, so now it is time for our energy update portion of the podcast episode. This is a new leveling up for me in the offering of Cosmic Cousins. Each time that we gather on both the new and the full moon, I will also offer you the upcoming transits that take us from one lunation to the next. So this is the energy from the Leo full moon, February 16th, to the Pisces New Moon, which I believe falls on March 2nd. We'll get to that in a moment. But before we get into the energy update, I would just like to remind you that you can leave a review, you can leave comments on the iTunes and a rating. And we did get a few comments in, so I'll read one of them here. This one is from Singing with HLC. Such a thoughtful and heartfelt, and then I can't read the rest of that line, but that was the title. Thoughtful and heartfelt. The comment says 5 stars. Listening to Jeff always feels incredibly grounding. Feels like coming home to myself. I love the new 2-week preview at the end of the episode. So helpful to have some footholds for the coming days. Thank you, Singing with HLC. Abby Marie writes, host Jeff is amazing, very knowledgeable, and has a sweet, accepting, nurturing energy. 5 stars. Thank you, Abby. It is an honor for me to be here with you all. If you would like to support the show, you can become a Patreon supporter of the show. Patreon.com/Cosmic Cousins. That helps me produce the show, and right now, there is a bonus. There's a 2-hour lecture on astrology and the body available for free for Patreon supporters only. And so if you make a monthly contribution, you can receive that lecture as early as today. Yes. So before we go into the energy update, I have one more thing that I want to say. Happy birthday, Pamela Coleman Smith. So this Leo full moon falls on Pamela Coleman Smith's birthday, which is February 16th. And Pixie is her nickname. Pixie was born in 1878, and she would have been 144 years old on this Leo full moon. And if you're not familiar with Pamela Coleman Smith, she is and was the illustrator of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, which is the most widely published tarot deck in the world. And she was an Aquarius sun, right? February 16th. With a Leo moon, the same energy of this full moon lunation. So her artwork continues to inspire and uplift humanity in that very Aquarius Leo way. So happy birthday to Pamela Coleman Smith. You can use the Strength card, Leo, and the Aquarius card is the Star card. So Strength and the Star to put out. I encourage you, if it causes you, place the Strength and Star cards out over the next few days. They both act as allies for deepening our connection to our innate wisdom and healing power. And actually, my boyfriend gifted me for the holidays a picture of me on the Star card with my dog. So my dog has one of the jugs pouring out to the earth, and then I have the other jug pouring out to the cosmic lake. And because I'm an Aquarius, and he knows that I love the Star card, so he gifted me a collage of me on that. And so for Valentine's Day, I just gifted him a picture of him as the Strength card, petting his dog, because the figure on the Strength card is normally petting a lion and has the infinity halo above their head. And then there's a mountain in the background, which is like Mount Hood for us here in the Pacific Northwest. So It's cool that I gifted that to him right here at the Leo full moon, and it's Leo's card. And then Aquarius's card is a star card. So I do have a special connection to these two cards right now, but maybe you'll put them out for this full moon and they will inspire something more deeply within you. And so thank you, Pamela Coleman Smith, for illustrating these cards that continue to inspire people 144 years after you were born into this world. Okay, now I think we're ready for the energy update. What's going on right now, right? February 16th is a Leo full moon. So the astro weather energy update is from February 16th to March 2nd. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect with each planet. We're going to go from the sun and move out in order all the way to Pluto, which is kind of interesting to end on Pluto. So I might bring it back to the sun after that. But that's just the way that we're going to experiment with this energy update, is going from the sun to the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and all the way out. So let's start with the sun. What is happening with the sun from February 16th to March 2nd? The sun travels from the 27th degree of Aquarius to 11 degrees of Pisces. So we're in the final few degrees of Aquarius right now, and we get to feel into this Aquarius-Pisces cusp. Not all astrologers work with cusp energies. I do. I choose to. I feel them. I will share with you that if you work with the tarot, it would be similar to putting two tarot cards out. I mean, the thing is we know Aquarius is its own archetype. We also know Pisces is its own archetype. So when the sun is about to enter into Pisces, we can put the star card out, which is Aquarius, and the moon card out, which is Pisces, and begin to feel that transition. It's different. The star going into the moon, we can read those two tarot cards together, so we can also read two zodiac signs together. And I encourage you to attune yourself to it. And the thing is like right now, we have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces and the sun at the final few degrees of Aquarius. So Pisces is very much awake and alive at this time. So as the sun is transitioning from Aquarius to Pisces, it's cosmic and ethereal. It's magical and otherworldly. I think of Regina Spektor as an Aquarius sun born on February 18th, the last day of Aquarius season, born with a 29th degree of Aquarius going into Pisces, and has a Pisces moon. So Regina Spektor is someone I often think of for the Aquarius-Pisces cusp. You know, it's this portal of water that reflects the cosmos. When I look at the star card, I think of, pouring the water into the cosmic lake. Pisces is then getting into the lake and immersing yourself in that cosmic wisdom. So we're at that tipping point. And so on February 18th, the sun will enter the collective mutable water sign of Pisces. And, this is a 30-day period where we come to the end of a massive cycle. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. So when we transition into Pisces, it is more about letting go, surrendering, allowing yourself to flow freely and to open yourself up to the unknown. So as we head into this energy update, we have the Aquarius-Pisces cusp. So we're already moving into Pisces. And I would say over this time period, on March 1st, the sun in Pisces will sextile Uranus and Taurus. And so whatever radical changes you've been making in relationship to embodying your values and self-worth, this is Uranus and Taurus, the Pisces sun is here to shine a compassionate light for greater love and inspiration. So connecting to spirit and magic through our physical objects and body. And it won't be until after the Pisces New Moon on March 2nd that the sun will join with Jupiter and the Neptune in Pisces. So we'll explore that on the next episode. But we will have a lot of Piscean energy. Sun in Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So that's the sun over the next 2 weeks. What's going on with the moon? So by the way, Sun is the ruling planet for Leo. So Leos, that is like your focus over the next 2 weeks. The Moon, ruling planet for Cancer. This might really connect you to your Cancerian energy in your chart, or if you are a Cancer Sun, Moon, or Rising. So over the next 2 weeks, the Moon travels from the Leo full moon on February 16th to the Pisces New Moon on March 2nd. So the Moon is waning. And as the Moon wanes, this is a time for breaking down, for harvesting, for being resourceful. And in Pisces season, the image of a wave comes to mind. So the Leo full moon is like the crest of the wave, and we are riding the helm until the new moon. So in whatever ways you can coast and enjoy the ride over the next 2 weeks, trust in the process. Also, when connecting to the moon, we can connect to the nodes of fate. The nodes of fate are the lunar nodes of the moon. There's a north node of the moon and a south node. The north node is an invitation towards evolution. The south node is things that we are cleansing and releasing. So the north node moves from the 27th degree of Taurus to the 25th degree of Taurus over the next 2 weeks. So you can look to those parts of your chart to understand how you might be evolving at this time. And, the north node in Taurus, again, it's an invitation into our values, into our embodiment, our self-worth. And the South Node in Scorpio is a time for us to go deeper into our psychology and to release ourselves from outdated karmic patternings, codependency. So when we're talking about the Mars-Venus conjunction right now, South Node in Scorpio could be pulling us into jealousy, into fear of abandonment. And so we're taking a moment to honor that part of ourself and allowing ourselves to release it, South Node in Scorpio, while going towards deeper commitment in relationship to our worth, the material, North Node in Taurus. So the North Node is trying Pluto and Capricorn over this time period. So whatever fateful realignments are happening in your life to further ground you and stabilize you with greater love and trust is also in relation to the deeper healing and transformation that's taking place in society at large, Pluto and Capricorn. So again, whatever is happening in your life to further ground you, Taurus North Node, to stabilize you with greater love and trust is also in relation to the deep healing and transformation that's taking place in society at large. So, yes, that is the North Node and the South Node. And so now we can move to our first planet, which is Mercury. And so this might really relate to Geminis and Virgos. Your ruling planet is Mercury, or anyone who is attuned to the energy of Mercury, like writers. So Mercury just re-entered Aquarius on February 14th, my birthday. So Mercury just re-entered Aquarius. Mercury was in Aquarius at the beginning of January, but stationed retrograde on January 14th, and it headed back to Capricorn. Then on February 3rd, Mercury stationed direct. And Mercury is traveling over this 2-week period from 0 degrees of Aquarius to 18 degrees of Aquarius, zipping right along like a shooting star through Aquarius. So Mercury in Aquarius, it does gift us expansive ideas that connect us to our community, to our collective, to humanity, to sharing our messages out to the world. So the energy available is really great for looking ahead throughout the year at the astrological energy. Aquarius is connected to astrology. Looking towards the big picture. Tarot spreads, big tarot spreads could be really good with Mercury and Aquarius. Mercury clears its shadow on Thursday, February 24th. And with Mercury and Aquarius, it is a time of the distribution of ideas, sharing your thoughts, your words with the collective. And particularly when we clear the shadow, there might be some openings around that time period. So Mercury in Aquarius. Let's move on to Venus. This could be important to Tauruses and Libra. This is your ruling planet. And Venus, since it's hanging out with Mars right now, we're also going to talk about Mars, which is Aries and Scorpio's ruling planet. So Taurus, Libra, Aries, Scorpio. This might be of importance to you or anyone who might have something around 15 to 26 degrees of Capricorn, because that is what they're traveling over the next 2 weeks. They're right hanging out with each other. Both Venus and Mars travel from the 15th degrees of Capricorn to 26 degrees of Capricorn over the next 2 weeks. And so when Venus and Mars travel together, again, I mentioned this earlier, it's a time of passion and desire. You can think of the Empress as Venus, and you can use the Emperor for Mars. So putting the Empress and the Emperor together, you might be embodying both of these cards at this time. Venus has been in Capricorn since November 5th. What happened in November 5th? And then Venus stationed retrograde on December 19th. But actually, the first half of December, Venus was just hanging out with Pluto in Capricorn. So we went on this underworld journey in regards to matters of our heart. We went on an underworld journey in regards to our relationships, of giving and receiving. Could be related to your career, your structures, your responsibilities. But we didn't quite know how it was going to shape out. And so how have you been re-investigating your relationship to value, to love, and to money since November 5th, since the beginning of December, and particularly December 19th when Venus stationed retrograde? So in this sign of Capricorn, this could be very practical and related to responsibility and commitment in your life. And then Venus stationed direct on January 29th, right around the Aquarius New Moon. And now with Mars by her side, there's an extra push now. Maybe there is a little bit more focus and intent and drive and ambition toward greater harmony, balance, and relationship. So this could feel aggravating around Venus themes. It very well could. For embodied health, this could be flare-ups, or heat, rashes. This is Mars, heat and rashes, flare-ups in regards to the Venus parts of the body, the skin, the lips, the throat, the lower back. These are some of Venus's sacred parts of the body. So, what is that? Heat on the lips. This is like a cold sore, a fever blister. Flare-ups on the skin, this rashes, acne, breakouts, these sort of things. So if you're experiencing that, for those more sensitive types are with a lot of earth in your chart, particularly Virgos, you might experience transits in your body. I'm a Virgo moon, so I know this very well. And it can be frustrating, Mars. But it is also a reminder to be more loving, Venus, to the body. So for some of us, and the reason I think I'm feeling into that is because this is Venus and Mars in Capricorn, so it's an earth sign, so it could very much be in the body. But for others, it might be more metaphorically speaking, depending on what's going on in your own chart. But Venus and Mars continue to travel together throughout March. So we will revisit this theme again and again over the next few episodes. Let's move on to Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius and is the traditional ruling planet for Pisces. Jupiter is about faith and expansion, travel. So Jupiter is in Pisces for the first 4.5 months of 2022 and travels from 10 degrees of Pisces to 14 degrees of Pisces over the next 2 weeks. This is significant because Jupiter is entering the second decan of Pisces, where Pisces energy really starts to reveal itself in mysterious ways. So as we move from the 10 degrees to 14 degrees of Pisces, Jupiter, you might start to feel into Jupiter and Pisces. You might really get to know it a bit more. And you can look to these degrees in your chart. I have Mercury in Pisces at the 13th degree, so I'm very interested to see what Jupiter hanging out with Mercury is going to feel like for me. But with Jupiter and Pisces, it is our psychic receptivity, particularly in relationship to the collective. It's a collective water sign, to our guides, to our spirits, to our angels. It could be music, dance, any way of expressing the self that allows energy to flow through you. So with Jupiter and Pisces, our psychic receptivity and our capacity to be a channel for that. And it's a channel for that. It's love for all beings everywhere. This is swelling. This is growing over the first 4.5 months of this year, and particularly at this time because the sun is entering Pisces. So Jupiter and Pisces, it's like the need for facts and details take a backseat, because we're learning to let go of control. We're learning to surrender to the unknown. So the upcoming Pisces New Moon will be conjunct Jupiter and Pisces. So we'll dive deeper into these waters, and it's kind of giving us a preview. If we're riding that crest of the Leo full moon to the Pisces New Moon, know that the Pisces New Moon, when it lands and crashes on the shore, it is like a big puddle of water, is Pisces New Moon with Jupiter and Pisces, that maybe even takes us into a deeper place than we thought possible. So in 2 weeks, just know for now that the same image of riding the Leo full moon wave to the shore of the Pisces New Moon over the next 2 weeks feels important. This is not necessarily a time to initiate new things. Even though Mars and Venus are hanging out with each other, there is that impulse to. It is more of a time to be with the energy that's already flowing and trusting it will take you right where you need to be. Let's move on to Saturn. Saturn, ruling planet for Capricorn, traditional ruler for Aquarius. This might relate to these two signs. Saturn is traveling very slowly. Saturn is trotting along in the fixed air sign of Aquarius, moving from the 17th degree of Aquarius to the 18th degree of Aquarius. Saturn can bring a sober outlook. So this is a sober outlook to all things Aquarius. A serious relationship to humanity. Serious relationship to the collective. I'm wearing a mask. That's my go-to for Saturn and Aquarius. I'm committed to this online group. I'm, learning about vaccines and taking responsibility for the collective through technology, through science. While also a deeper commitment to a progressive truth, Aquarius. So a bit of focus is taken off of our responsibilities over the next 2 weeks because the sun is leaving Aquarius and moving into Pisces. So as we shift into Pisces season, it feels like a lightening of the mood, through greater love, through fantasy, music, spiritual pursuits, Pisces. But there is still that level of seriousness and structure that's being built around Aquarius, what we're broadcasting out to the world, how we're connecting to our community, how we're communicating about equality for all people. And we've been feeling Saturn and Aquarius since March of 2020, right when social distancing measures were put in place is when Saturn entered Aquarius. So, yes, Uranus. Let's move on to Uranus. This is Aquarius's modern ruler. Is at the 11th degree of Taurus right now. Not a whole lot to say here for this energy update, except that what I previously mentioned is that the Pisces sun will sextile Uranus and Taurus on March 1st. So I'll simply repeat that message for us. That feels like the most Uranian thing for us at this time. But again, the sun in Pisces will make this nice sextile to Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is Uranus is revolution and change. Taurus is the earth, the financial realms. So whatever's been going on for you around Uranus and Taurus themes, On and around March 1st, the sun in Pisces will sextile Uranus and Taurus. And so whatever radical changes you've been making in relationship to embodying your values and self-worth, the Pisces sun is here to shine a compassionate light for greater love and inspiration. So it's connecting to spirit and magic through our physical objects and our body. But yeah, there's not as much with Uranus that I feel as called to share about with this energy update, and that's okay. Neptune. Neptune moves from the 21st degree of Pisces to the 22nd degree of Pisces. It is the planet of mysticism and universal compassion. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011, when many people began to have spiritual awakenings. So with the sun entering Pisces, we begin to shine more of a conscious light towards Neptune themes in our life. But this is a little bit off in the distance, right? Because it will be the second half of Pisces season when the sun will line up with Neptune. And this is a little bit off in the distance as well, which feels okay when we're talking about Neptune, but Jupiter and Neptune will align in the sky on April 12th. So this is an Aries season. Neptune is taking us into the future now. We're drifting off. But I think it's important for us to just have this energy update. And by the way, Neptune is the modern ruling planet for Pisces and is also the esoteric ruler for Cancer. So again, Jupiter and Neptune will align in the sky on April 12th at the 23 degrees of Pisces. 23 degrees and 59 minutes, so kind of like the 24th degree, really, if we round up here. But Jupiter, again, is expansion and faith. Jupiter is like the teacher in our chart. Neptune is like the mystic. Neptune is universal compassion. Can also be illusion and delusion. So Jupiter and Neptune, we're preparing for this big conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune both in their home sign of Pisces. And so what this is feeling like is that Aries season of this year will have really huge waves of Piscean bliss and otherworldliness. So what feels important now is to know that this is coming and to practice being in your body, connecting to the earth, so that, as we head through Pisces season into Aries season, whatever healing wants to take place, it can begin to wash over you, but that importance of coming back into the body is important, and to ground. We'll visit this theme more, but there is a lot of openings happening, a lot of sacred closeouts, and a lot of forgiveness and healing that is taking place as we move into March and April. So Neptune kind of takes us out there. We're kind of floating out now. But let's leave it at that for now. And the Pisces New Moon will be an opportunity to go in deeper. So yes, Pluto. Pluto travels from the 27th degree in 25 minutes to the 27th degree in 48 minutes of Capricorn over the next 2 weeks. This is important because we are, if you follow this, and as an astrologer, I'm just kind of observing it because it's the first time that we're all experiencing it, but it's what's called the United States Pluto Return, and it's the first of 3 hits, or first of 3 times that Pluto will transit over the degree of the United States natal Pluto. This year, there will be 3 different times that we'll talk about this, but this is the first time that Pluto is returning to the same degree that Pluto was in the United States birth chart. So the Pluto return is, it's a reckoning. It's a reckoning of the soul of a nation. And so we've been experiencing that over the last few years as Pluto has been within orb of that degree and that point in the United States birth chart. And so Pluto is the judgment card in the tarot where all souls are waking up from their graves and looking up towards an angel in the sky. So it is a time, in our own personal life, these final degrees of Pluto and Capricorn is us waking up to our greater purpose here on Earth. It is a time of us reckoning with the past, making amends without perpetuating greater harm, This is a time where we are really processing the grief and the heartache and the pain of the past, and doing a lot of psychological healing, particularly as it relates to father, patriarchy, government, our careers, our relationship to the environment. So for those of you who are more Plutonian, Pluto is the ruling planet for Scorpio, the modern ruler, and is the esoteric ruler for Pisces. So this might relate to some of you or anyone who's doing Plutonian work. These are people in positions of power, people who work underground, quite literally or metaphorically, like a psychologist or a therapist, hypnotist, people who are, working with other people's money, resources. But either way, just knowing that it's a Pluto return, I think, is important to just note, and we just all observe and see how this whole year is marked by that, because Pluto moves quite slowly. And so really 2019 to about 2025 is like we're in the Pluto return, we could say. And we'll look more into that throughout this year. July 12th will be the second time that Pluto will line up with the United States natal Pluto. And then in December, so February, July, December. So that's Pluto in Capricorn. And so we'll bring it back to the sun, because I think ending on Pluto is an interesting place to end. But again, the sun is traveling from Aquarius to Pisces. And so happy Leo full moon to you. Those of you with Leo energy, this is your full moon. And to those of you who are Aquarius, happy, solar return, happy moon time, rising time to you. And for those of you who are Pisces, we're getting ready to celebrate you. So the wheel of the year is turning. And it's an honor to be here with you and to help you navigate the cosmic weather. At this time, we have a special conversation with Mary Grisey, who is a friend of mine and also an incredible psychic medium who I have had the honor to work with. She has completely changed and radicalized my life. And as a Leo sun, I feel her Leo to my Aquarius so much. She inspires me to really drop into my heart and to embody my truth in really bold and beautiful ways. And so I'm excited to introduce you to Mary. I think this is the first time that she's been on Cosmic Cousins. So this time, let's transition into this conversation with Mary Grisey. So here with us today on Cosmic Cousins, I'm really honored and excited and super stoked to introduce you to Mary Grisey, who is a Leo with Cancer Moon and Libra rising. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's your big three. But a little bit about Mary. Mary is a multidimensional channeler, a psychic, a spiritual medium, and a visual artist based out of Los Angeles, California, and has been connected to the unseen world ever since she can remember and works closely with her spirit guides.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into all of that with you. But for starters, just welcome and thanks for being here for the Leo Full Moon episode.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Maybe let's just start there. Like what has being a Leo been like for you, and what does it feel like for you to reflect on your Leo nature during Aquarius season? Like, is there a certain experience you have this time of year as a Leo?
Yeah. I always feel very charged during this time. And it's funny because during actual Leo season, it feels a bit shadowy. It feels like I'm going into a cave, even though it's midsummer and you're supposed to be having like barbecues and pool parties. But it always feels really deep, like cavernous. And so during Aquarius season is really a time for me to shine, I think.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear. And I mean, really, if you think about the sun's path around your chart, when the sun is in opposition to your sun, which it is this time of year, it's sort of like a full moon energy for you.
Mm-hmm.
This all of Aquarius season, it's the time of year where you're halfway. And so your birthday actually, in many ways, acts as a new moon, which is a time to go within the self and to
Wow.
realign. So, yeah, which is cool because during Aquarius season, we always are gifted with a beautiful, bold Leo full moon. And that also represents how this is a full moon time of year for you as a Leo and all Leos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
That's so interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, as a psychic, you work with tarot as well, and you have a lot of study with the tarot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The tarot came to me as a teenager, and that was a way for me to really feel safe, connecting with the spirit world and my psychic abilities. I call it my safe bridge, my door opener
Okay.
to the psychic world. Hmm.
Gotcha. What was the first deck that you had, and how was it introduced to you?
Oh my God. Funny enough, I think it was from one of those teen magazines had a like cutout, um, little baby cards in the actual magazine and like finger size.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
And I don't, so I don't think it was, it might have been inspired by Rider Waite. And I wish I could track that magazine down.
Mhm.
But my first actual deck that I purchased, was, I think it was like the Romantic Tarot, and I wish I could remember the artist's name. But it was all it's all that's all like based off of beautiful sort of romantic paintings, and it's just
Wow.
so gorgeous. Yeah.
I mean, everything you're sharing just feels Leo to me. There's something about like the physicality of like punching little cards out of a magazine that feels Leo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also, when you say the word romantic, I mean, Leo is a sign of romance. Have you experienced that as a Leo? Does that resonate with you? That sort of like passion and romance side that often Leo is said to rule over?
Oh my God. Yeah. It's I almost feel it's been a thorn in my side my whole
Mm,
life because I get sort of entrapped in like these ideals of relationship. And sometimes it's this sort of like I get this feeling of being dissatisfied in a lot of my relationships because I'm always wanting more and more and more. And so that's been a huge like lesson or a lot of medicine for me to bring that love back to myself, and not focus so much on the other, but I think with the romanticism, when I apply it to like, because I'm an artist, when
mhm.
I apply it to my art and my readings, in very Leo fashion, it's like all or nothing. I'm gonna like make this big. I make large scale textile installations, and it's, yeah, it's all of me or there's no going halfway.
Yeah. I mean, I'm loving hearing you say this. Is that like deep love and desire that you feel inside is finding outlets to channel it towards, whether that's towards yourself,
Hmm.
towards your artistry, or even I heard a little bit of like it being channeled towards clients and the healing work that you do.
Yeah.
So these large textiles that you have, is that one of your pieces that's behind you right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
So
yeah, it's
yeah,
I go through a big process in my work. This is like, is this going to be this is a video interview,
it's
right?
not going to be
Uh,
video. So
yeah.
I would love to talk about it, but maybe we can describe it to the listeners, like what it
Hmm.
looks like. So I might share a little bit, and then I'd love to hear you say too. But
Yeah.
I'm getting very Leo from it because there's like bold reds and kind of like tan oranges in it, and it almost like it has this texture to it that almost feels like it would be in the jungle to me, or that like it is a lion.
Hmm.
And it has like it feels like there's like lion scratches through it to me if I'm looking at it through the lens of Leo, but it's rather large on your wall
Yeah.
behind you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's this big weaving made on my, I have a wooden floor loom and like old school.
Mm.
And it's 3 panels that are hand sewn together to make it just like one large piece. And a lot of my pieces are woven and then unwoven. Like I unravel, I scratch off pieces. They go through like a whole dye process. This one I actually buried.
Oh.
And I buried for a few days at this artist residency, and then I excavated it later. And so a lot of my work goes through sort of metamorphosis, like a transformative process. So yeah, you can smell it. It's really, visceral and definitely, like you said, like the lion, it's a reflection, I think, of our world.
Wow. Yeah, it feels very primal and like instinctual and sort of like, and this is what I love about Leos and what you're sharing too, is that you're not overthinking it. It's not like you're coming from this intellectual place. You're like, I'm gonna dig a hole and put this in the ground because that's what I feel like doing,
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what other people are thinking about it. There's just this sort of authenticity that's coming from it that
Yeah. Yeah. I think across the board in all of my work, not just the art, my work always comes from a place of urgency. And I always act from that place of what is it that I need to bring into our material physical world. So
rawr.
yeah.
Yeah.
all the roars.
Yeah. So some of these themes that we're touching on, people might be feeling under the light of this Leo full moon. We all kind of get gifted this opportunity to be blessed with this Leo light. And, as a Leo, like you invite my Aquarius ass deep into my heart, which is Leo's body part. So we had a session last week it was a truly life-changing for me. And it was a session where, normally I come in, if I'm having a session with someone, I want to talk about my offering or my career or, my my podcast, focusing more on the collective. But I was like, no, I really want to focus on my heart and also the relationship that I'm in. And I felt really supported by you in that. And so every time we work together, I do feel seen and held in a nurturing way, but it's also deeply empowering. And I find that sort of balance with Leo, that tender nurturance, which I'm now my eyes going towards the strength card in the tarot. And since
Yeah.
you work with the tarot, we would love to hear what your experience is of this card as Leo's card.
Yeah. Thank you for saying all that. That's really nice of you. And yeah, the strength card. Oh my gosh. I think I actually just personally went through a strength year, and I'm now in the hermit. In 2021. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Either 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big black hole since the pandemic started. But anyway, so the strength card for me, as I rolled through it, really, I actually do want to speak about the black hole that I went through because, okay, it was 2020. Absolutely. Because I gave birth to my daughter, Sophie, who is now 2. And my mother had passed away at the same time. And then we dropped into a worldwide pandemic. And it was the most crazy spiritual awakening I've ever experienced in my life, as one could imagine. And I know I'm not alone in speaking of this because I know we all went through a lot of trauma. But on a personal level, I never experienced the strength card as being something like a spiritual awakening. And that's the heart piece that I want to talk about is, I think I wrote this piece channeled from my guides based on that card called The Heart is How We Remember. And in my psychic work and how I teach psychic development and mediumistic development is always, it's not the third eye or the pineal gland, what everyone thinks. Yes, it's part of the mechanics, but it's always the heart where you are tuning into to receive and connect with everything that is interconnected. And so I called the strength card my sort of dark days doula of getting me through this threshold on to the other side. And I don't even know if I'm on the other side, but
Yeah.
the strength card is massively, it's just heart medicine. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. When I hear you say the other side, I mean, I'm thinking of how strength, if we're looking at strength as number 8, which I go by that Golden Dawn tradition that's in the Rider-Waite Smith, where strength is card 8. It initiates the second row of the major arcana. And
Yeah.
so strength is the beginning of that gateway into the unconscious and going deeper within to the self. So in some ways it's like, well, now you're in the hermit, and it's
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
still like going through row 2. So
Yeah.
maybe you're not on the other side quite yet, but strength, we have to move through strength in order to move through that threshold.
Yeah. Yeah. I and I think, who is it? Mary K. Greer. I love
Hmm.
her. She's one of my teachers moving in. I mean, not personally, but all of her books I've read. And I think she speaks of the strength card, or cards, what is it, 5 through 10, as being coming into conscious awareness of oneself.
Wow.
So I think
Yes.
that's really interesting, how I became aware of me and remembering why I'm here.
Yeah. And it's interesting to consider, like, as a Leo, that this is work that you're doing throughout your lifetime too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, some of what I was picking up of that, like, there's almost this sort of like, I growled earlier, like just kind of like cheeky, but like there's like a growl of embodiment that I feel from what you're sharing. Like, we're going in, we're doing this, and it's out of love and a desire for being human.
Yeah.
It's like this understanding of what it means to be connected to spirit or to cosmic consciousness, but also have this sort of guttural or primal instinctual response to feel what it also means to be inside of a body as a spirit. And so these moments in time where it's like giving birth, or the passing away of your mother, these are like very like bodily experiences that are also containers for our spiritual evolution. And so like when I think of like taking care of an animal, like putting hands on a lion, there's this like physical connection, but also the infinity symbol halo above the head, the connection to cosmos at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I really connect with that number, is understanding, number 8 is like, we're all infinite. We're all, I mean, the best medicine is to be present here right now, but also to remember, this is also temporary. We live on. Um, so yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a bit of famous Leos who are part of the esoteric and occult community, which I've always found really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you know, being an astrologer, we always think of like the Scorpios that are
Hmm.
like, oh, they're the psychics, they're the spirit talkers, and
Hmm. Yeah.
but it's interesting because I do know a lot of my Leo friends and other famous mediums, or any mystical practitioner that is a Leo.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that is a
Hmm.
interesting thing, and also encouragement for all the signs to partake in this work. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think of like Rachel Pollack is a Leo. Pamela
Mhm.
Coleman Smith had a Leo moon.
Mm.
Even Carl Jung is a Leo sun, and then has all 4 major asteroids in Leo, like hanging out with his sun, which is like
Wow.
really trippy to learn. I've just found that over time, like there's something with Leos, and maybe there's that polarity to Aquarius too, of
Mhm.
Aquarius being a sign that's connected to the stars and to astrology. What has
Yeah.
been your experience of Aquarius, like individuals as a Leo?
Yeah. I love them. And I want to joke and say I hate them too. Just kidding. No, there's no hate here. They're pretty much like a lot of my closest friends are Aquarians. My sister is an Aquarius. But there's also this, not with all Aquarians, but there's this bluntness. And the Leo has this very soft, sensitive side where I know that I have to understand that the Aquarius isn't like meaning to hurt my feelings. So I've had to work through some relationships with Aquarians where they have been blunt. And then I have to understand the underlying intention behind that and been like, oh, okay, brush it off.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like a softening for Aquarius when being with Leo.
Yeah. But in the powerful side, it's just like this buzziness and this like the Aquarius will sort of have this like download, and maybe the Leo will have the download too, but they'll complement each other in a different way where the Leo will push maybe the Aquarius to shine and show them their worth and hold that, like you said earlier, hold that space for them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, really cool. So you have this master class that's coming up, and it seems really powerful. I'm interested in it too. I think I told you that in the email exchange that we had. But it's called The Architecture of Remembering, a Psychic and Mediumship Master Class. And it starts pretty soon. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, it starts next Thursday, February 17th, and it goes to May 19th, 2022. And it's a 12-week deep dive into the psychic, mediumship, and the last part will go into soul regression. So this masterclass is divided into 3 modules, and the first 4 weeks we cover sort of like a psychic foundation or a framework for like, oh, like how does one even access their psychic ability? And so then we really start there and get to know our frequency, our resonance, and how to then connect with another resonance outside of us. And then we move into mediumship, which is connecting with the spirit world. And this is like loved ones, mainly. Like I'm more going to touch on evidential mediumship. And then from there, we have these beautiful tools to then dive into the last module, which is soul regression. And I'll do 4 classes that we dive into our Earth past lives, our galactic past lives, like off planet, our in-between lives, where do we go when our body is no more? And then we dive into like the future part of us.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds really deep and rich. And I'm wondering how, like, when you're doing that sort of work, like when you're talking about regression or mediumship, does it also connect you to the here and the now? And will people start to feel shifts in their day-to-day life that are tangible? Or is this more of a, sort of outward reaching spiritual class? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm feeling intuitively is like while you're doing that work, you might really feel shifts in your life that could be quite practical even.
Yeah. So I love that question because last year I taught this master class, so it went really well. And I have some students that are actively like psychics and mediums. They're doing it. They're like making money off of this work. So it's great to see them out there. And this is also for people who are not sort of quote unquote psychic or, in the mystical realm. Maybe I've had a lot of like working with like nurses and writers and just maybe stay-at-home moms, or dads. And so this has been a journey, I think, for everyone. And it's mainly catered towards beginners and intermediate. But I've had like advanced practitioners take this because they're like, oh, I'd like to brush up on my, psychic fundamentals, or maybe just like you've hit a ceiling and you want to learn a new way. That might help you break through that maybe stagnant or, that ceiling.
Yeah. I like the word master, like the master class.
Yeah.
It feels kind of Leo to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes me, I'm like, ooh, a master class. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I'm not kidding. This is like all the tools that I've learned in the 10 years of doing this work professionally by trial and error. Yeah. There will be stories, there will be sharing, lots of PDFs.
So it starts on the 17th. When can someone sign up until? Because I'll kind of take that into consideration when posting this podcast episode. I might post it a little bit earlier than the Leo full moon so that people who are called to this could be.
I'm going to try to cap it on Valentine's Day, February 14th, which is a Monday. I might have to cap it sooner because we have a lot of signups so far, but I think it'll be Monday. So
is it a group class, like online, or? It's
a group class. And I have like a platform set up for it. And
cool.
Yeah, it's people have forged amazing friendships after the class. So
that's awesome.
It's an amazing group so far. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, if it's filled up by the time this episode comes out, I'm still happy that everyone listening has been introduced to Mary Grisey's work, because you're an incredible practitioner. You do work with people one-on-one as well. And so I'll put a link to the show notes to Mary's websites and Instagram so that you can stay connected if you feel called to connect in that sort of way. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today. It's been an honor, as always, to connect with you, and we'll have to have you back on sometime.
Yes, I would love that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks as always, Cosmic Cousins, for tuning into the show. If you'd like to support me in the production of this podcast, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Again, there's a bonus 2-hour lecture on astrology in the body available for free for Patreon supporters. And as far as offerings, right now I have openings for both astrology and tarot readings available for April and May. And if you know you'd like to work with me through a one-on-one mentorship, you can email me to join the waitlist for summer and autumn 2022 mentorships. And you can also leave comments and reviews. That always helps out the show, and send this out to your loved ones, people that you think might benefit from this podcast. I'm wishing for you a beautiful and bold Leo full moon and a peaceful, blissful entrance into Pisces. All right, cousins, take sweet care, and remember, deep breaths.